All right, guys, welcome back. Excited to have you back as I am every week. We got a really, really cool guest that's joining us today. He actually runs Brave Books. And if you guys listened to last week's interview with Kirk Cameron, Kirk's tied into this whole thing. And uh, I've got an unusual story that Trent Talbot, who runs Brave Books. So, Trent, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me.
So I'm like totally intrigued. How in the heck do you go from being a doctor to running a book business?
Yeah. Well, it really started in late 2018, early 2019, whenever I was saved. At that point, I was a practicing ophthalmologist and didn't know the Lord, was just lost, but by the grace of God, found Christ, started reading the Bible, and was convinced that Jesus was who he said he was. Met the love of my life. We got married in the summer of 2019. And then ended up having our first child, Charlotte, in the summer of 2020. And this is like peak COVID craziness. Um, when Charlotte was born, within the first few weeks of her life, uh, it was like everywhere I looked was this culture war on our kids, on the hearts, minds, and souls for our kids. And when she was born, Anti-Racist Baby was the #1 book on Amazon. The trailer for the film Cuties came out. I took Charlotte, and she was just really small.
Sorry to interrupt. You said trailer for the film Cuties just came out.
Yeah.
For all of the people that completely forgot what that was, can you what were your thoughts at that particular moment in time when you saw that trailer?
It just seemed like it was people that were trying to sexualize kids, and for those that don't know, don't look it up. It's gross, but it's a it was a movie about like 12-year-old cheerleaders, and they were just they were being sexualized, and it was really disgusting. And I saw that trailer, and that that
Think
grossed me
think
out.
fishnet stockings, think
Yeah,
just ridiculousness stuff. I saw it too, and I had that, no, this isn't real. Like,
yeah,
there's no way. Wait, this is going mass media. This isn't some sick subculture. You got to have a password to get in. Like, this is just, we're going to run commercials about this on regular TV and regular stuff, like all mainstream. Like, it was unbelievable. We're going to have child pornography, is what I viewed it as.
yeah, yeah,
So I was like repulsed, revolt. I couldn't believe that this wasn't somewhere far away from me.
yep, yep. Same here. And as a new dad, just I was upset. I was pissed, and I just realized that parents needed a a company that they completely trusted. Because at this point, parents were losing faith in like every institution, whether it was the education system, our medical, our political system, just and another one was children's entertainment. And so I just felt like parents needed a company that they could trust with their kids' imaginations, because no everybody was going woke and was playing into this nonsense, and Disney and Scholastic, all of them. And so I had this idea for Brave Books and this universe that we created called Freedom Island, and cast of characters, Team Brave. And the more I thought about it, the more I just really liked the idea. And in the summer of 2021, decided to give it a rip and started Brave Books. And we started it. I was on Fox and Friends that the morning that we started it, and then on Larry Kudlow that afternoon, and started. And basically people were it resonated. Just not only just the idea, but the quality that we did it with really resonated, and just sort of been going from there. And it's been growing. And our we're a unique publishing company. Most publishers, they sell their books to either Amazon or Ingram, and then they distribute. We wanted to have if you're going to have trust, you have to have a relationship. So we did a book of the month club. and we sell our books through our website, bravebooks.com. And so it's been just a journey of learning just so much. We learned how to make good books, how to build a website, have a fulfillment center. It's been an absolute whirlwind of trying to figure this thing out. But at the core, we just had a deep belief that our children's imaginations and attention are very precious, and that if you want to build a solid moral foundation, it starts with capturing their attention and their imagination. And so from the beginning, we've made our books and our product extremely fun. So like whenever you subscribe, the first book you get, it comes with a 4x6 poster with Freedom Island, and every book unlocks characters with stickers, and kids just have a blast with it. And they love just the recurring characters and the overarching narrative. And so while they're having fun and they're getting lost in this world and this narrative, every book teaches a solid biblical value or timeless lesson, whether it's that boys are boys and girls are girls, or that life is precious, or that hard work is good, or lying is bad, just those sorts of things. And parents and kids have fallen in love with the books, and so yeah, it's been a wild ride since Charlotte was born, but yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's been a lot of fun.
So ophthalmologists make some money, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you have the courage to shut that down? And like, I'm totally intrigued how that switched. Like, I get that you saw an issue in the world, and what a lot of guys do is they say, there, Kirk and I were talking about reporters and reformers.
Yeah,
They'll report it to everybody. Hey, there's something going on. Like, this is bad.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
kind of hold up their hands and look around like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What's somebody going to do? I'm just going to stand over here and, stay away from this thing, but it's bad.
yeah, yeah. I, I don't know. I just, the more I thought about the idea, the more it began to crystallize in my mind. And then the more fun it seemed like it'd be a fun adventure. And that's really what drew me. It wasn't like, anger or um it just seemed like it'd be a fun adventure that was needed. And I was newly married, had a new kid, so I didn't want to be foolish about it. So I set parameters in my mind of, hey, I need to see this amount of success within the first year in order to keep doing it. I wasn't gonna like just put my family in a bad position. Um, so I thought about it a lot. It was a huge decision, obviously, but I thought that I thought I could get it started, and then if it wasn't going to be enough to provide for my family, then I could find somebody to run it and then go back to practicing ophthalmology. Little did I know I would just fall in love with it and never want to go back to ophthalmology, which is what happened. And yeah, so yeah, it was a big decision, but it just seemed like a lot of fun, and that's basically it.
Who was the first person you told about the idea?
Hmm. Um, it was probably my best friend, Justin,
Okay.
who's also my business partner. You know, talk to him, just see if he thought it was as crazy as I did, and yeah, and then he liked it. Talked to my wife about it. That was an interesting conversation.
That's where I was going to, I'm like, how
Yeah,
long before you talk to
yeah,
your wife? Because a lot of guys, this is a common issue.
yeah, yeah,
Here's this thing, and I don't want to tell my wife, or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
she's gonna hate on it a little bit or pick it apart a little bit. So
Yeah,
what
she
was
for
that
sure
like?
did. She for sure did. But you know, I have one of those personalities where once I get my mind on something, it's hard to convince me otherwise. I can be pretty persuasive. So but she definitely, she pushed back a lot. Obviously, she was nervous, but her pushback really helped us think through everything, and think through the launch strategy and all of that. She's wise beyond her years and has great instinct. And so she's been super valuable throughout this whole journey of, because she's our target market. She's a concerned mom. And, those are the people that buy books. So I definitely lean on her a lot and did, whenever we're making this decision.
Yeah, that's a good point. Who buys these books? Concerned moms, for
Yeah.
sure. Dads typically aren't on the buying books side of things. So, dads, if
Yeah.
you want to do something different, jump on the side of buying these books. Your wife will be proud, happy, thankful, grateful. She'll see you as taking leadership in an area that might surprise her.
Yeah, absolutely. She would appreciate that. It just shows that you're concerned and you're thinking. And yeah, so definitely go to bravebooks.com and buy some books.
Guys, when I've done that, when I've gone a direction that my wife wasn't expecting and she saw some leadership and doing something for her or the family or whatever, they take notice. They take notice and like, what was behind this? And you can blame it on this podcast. It's fine. But share it with some other guys as well, because this absolutely can help families. What I loved when I was checking out, you've got a couple of books. I got to check those out. The artwork is
Yeah.
unreal. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's from the beginning, we sort of felt like entertainment falls into two categories right now. It's either well done, but it's just mindless entertainment at best. Sometimes it promotes, values that go against what we as Christians believe. Um, or it falls into sort of the Christian cringe bucket where it's just like low quality and you hear, oh, there's a new Christian movie or book out, and it's just it doesn't it doesn't meet the standard, set by whether it's Hollywood or whatever. And we wanted to do something different and sort of create a new standard of, it's got it's more creative. And honestly, what Brave Books has done, I know I'm biased, but what Brave Books has done is has sort of set a new bar in publishing. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Just the level of creativity, not just in the books, but in the whole product in general. Like the customer experience. It's a whole experience that lasts years, and so we wanted to sort of take it to another level with children's books, but not just be mindless entertainment. You know, use take full advantage of children's attention when you have it, and then with every book teach a super valuable lesson that builds kids character. And because there's really no reason why kids entertainment, whether it's books or TV shows, can't do both. Like it just takes a lot more thought and care, but it's totally possible to make high quality, entertaining things that kids love, but also strengthens them while they're enjoying it. And that hasn't wavered. And so from the beginning, we wanted top notch everything, top notch writing, illustrations, the whole thing, and that's been our standard from day one.
My wife, she has some children's books. They're out on Amazon, and she does use Ingram Sparks, like you mentioned, to print them for her. She had a published, her first book was through a publishing company, and then she's done three after that on her own and self-published those. So when you're talking about, things you've been talking about, I'm like the artwork, the binding, like all the different factors that go into it, how you print the words and the pictures together. Like there's a certain quality aspect to
Yeah.
it. And as I look through yours, I'm like, this is everything that my wife talks about, like all the things that are important. And when she runs into other children's books and she's like, oh, they did this. This is the super cheap way. And now, like, and as I look through yours, I'm like, this is great. And you mentioned the Christian cringe. I love that little phraseology. I was talking to my wife earlier today, and she's like, my books, they don't, they're not hardcore Christian books. They're not. And if she had those words in her vocabulary, she would have said Christian cringe.
Yeah,
And I said, it's
it's
so,
a thing.
yeah, I said, it's so funny you mentioned that. I'm like, I just checked out two of the books and neither one of them had that in it. It
Yeah,
was like, it was all set up. And as a parent, it was easy to dialogue with. And then you can add whatever you wanted to it. I'm like, and she was around for the interview with Kirk, and we were talking about the new TV show that's coming out, Iggy and the Adventures
yeah,
of Iggy and Mr. Kirk.
yeah,
And I'm like, remember what he said about that show? How it's got different characters. Like, there's no devil, there's no God, there's no, but there's as adults we can clearly identify who's who.
yeah.
As kids, they're just hearing a story. And I'm like, we can take that story and then shift it to whatever conversation we want to shift it to. And it's real easy to see the
Right.
parallels and the symbolism and those type things. And my wife's like, no kidding. So Brave Books, like, I'm telling you, like, these are great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
And they have activities at the end also.
Yeah. So the way that kids' minds work is the way I see it is, if you have a story that teaches a lesson, well, you can't have it be preachy and have the story overtly tell the lesson because that takes the fun out of it. That then you've lost the kids. So you can't do that. You have to just tell a really fun story that gets into their subconscious as far as the lesson, and but it sets the table for the parent then to have the conversation where they can really teach the lesson. So in Elephants Not Birds, our first book, you have the story of Kevin the elephant who loves to sing. Culture the vulture comes, hears Kevin singing, tries to convince Kevin that, hey, he's so good at singing, surely, oh surely he must be a bird. And so Kevin believes that he's a bird, and has a really tough go of it for a while. And eventually, the the great white pine in the center of town catches on fire, and the town needs basically an elephant to go get some water, put it out with their trunk. And so Kevin takes off the beak and wings, goes, saves the town, and realizes that you know he's he's perfect the way that he was made. Um, and he can be an elephant and still sing. And so we don't say in the story that boys are boys and girls are girls. What we do is we create the framework for then a conversation to happen from parent to child that makes it super easy to talk about how, hey, just like Kevin got confused, and but he realized that he was perfect the way God made him. You're perfect the way that God made you. You're a boy. So that's how kids learn. They learn through story. That's how Jesus taught. That's how kids learn best. That's how we all learn best. But it's just like what I see a lot of Christians do is they just try to in the story teach the lesson. But that's you can't do that because this is not fun. So
Right.
so that's our system is we just tell a really fun story that sets up further conversations. And we have this brave challenge in the back where it has games, discussion questions to really sort of get into the conversation. And
We always do a challenge at the end of our podcast too.
oh really? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So many
Great mind.
similarities. That's great. So as I was checking out like titles of different books, let's see, bravery is a topic that Kirk Cameron tackles. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. He,
Yeah, he's pretty brave.
came to faith at a younger age, was in the middle of Hollywood, and started telling the directors and producers, "Hey, let's take that scene out. Let's change that scene. That doesn't go with what I'm into." And I want to, since I'm playing a character that's basically me, I want to
Yeah.
change the narrative on this one. I don't want scenes of me sleeping with girls being part of the show.
Yeah.
And as a successful Hollywood person, who are you, you 17-year-old punk?
Yeah. 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 I'm
We
sure
do
that.
what we do. And yeah, so he got him to change. So bravery, like that's a topic. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's Kirk's doing that one. Dangers of greed. Who in the world could be an expert on dangers of greed? Quite a few people, but uh, the most successful money laundering crime boss since Al Capone, a guy named Michael Francese, who's in the movie Goodfellas, is the
Yeah.
author of that one. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wow, we got Mikey Francese writing the kids' book nowadays, huh?
Yeah.
Like super, super cool. Masculinity, who can tackle that one? I don't know. Can Hercules take that topic?
Right.
Yeah, let's go get Kevin Sorbo, the actor who portrayed Hercules.
Yeah.
Uh, who else? Oh, and then he was in God's Not Dead, and he was in that movie Reagan, and we know the director of that one. Uh, Super good guy. Uh, Trail Life did one for Moderation. Mark Hancock is behind Trail Life. Mark is fantastic. So I'm hitting these topics, and I'm like, the guy that's behind the topic or the woman, like unbelievable. So how did you get this collection of people that jumped in?
Well, you know, um, God's been great to us. We early on we met with a lot of attention and praise, and then that had people start to reach out to us, and then getting Kirk gave us a lot of credibility, and with people like Mark Hancock and Kevin Sorbo. So it's just been a process as we've gotten bigger. It's been easier and easier. People have come to us, or when we reach out, we're greeted well, and so that's basically been it. Just a track record of doing right by other authors and making good books, and we think we give our authors a good experience working with us. So
Yeah, I was just so impressed by the topic and then the person that matched up to the topic. I'm like,
yeah.
these are like world class, top notch. Can't get better than these particular people for these particular topics. So
Thank you.
uh, overly impressed by that. That was so so good. Do you do like school book fairs or anything like that?
We don't, we thought about it. So, but public schools, we figured out real quick that we would be met with a ton of resistance by trying to um, do book fairs with public schools because of our brand. We started off, we were a little bit more political brand than we are now. Now we're more of a Christian brand, slightly. We don't shy away. We lean conservative, and we've had books on things like freedom of speech and gender reality and the sanctity of life. And so some of our books touch on political things, um, but um, anyway, public school system just met with a lot of resistance for that. So we actually started something called Brave Book Fairs, but we turned it into more or less a nonprofit, and I'm not involved with it anymore. It's called Skytree Book Fairs, and Riley Lee runs it, who used to work at Brave, and it's doing incredible. I think they're going to do like 5,000 book fairs this year or something nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it started like less than 2 years ago, and there's a real need because Scholastic, they lost a lot of trust with schools, and there was a desperate need for a competitor. But we realized that Brave wasn't the right, so we sort of just like got it started and then helped support Riley. But now I'm hands off, and I don't really have anything to do with it anymore. But it has become really successful. It's a Skytree Book Fairs, and yeah, I'm super proud of what Riley's done there.
It has me thinking about Mark Hancock with Trail Life. His son was in Boy Scouts. He was involved in Boy Scouts, and his son, it's like Eagle Scout or whatever. And they're like, "Hey, you're coming back, right?" He's like, "No, I'm not coming back." And he's like, they're like, "Hey, could you give us some feedback on why you're not coming back?" And he's like, "Dad, I'm going to write something up tomorrow. Will you review it?" And his dad is like, "Oh, this is going to be horrible. This kid is into words and deep thinker, and he's going to write a book, and I'm going to have to help edit and condense." And he's like, "This is going to be terrible." And his son's next morning is like, "All right, Dad, I finished it up. Would you read it?" "Yes, son, I'll read it." And it says his reason why, and I don't need to condense it. You weren't brave.
Hmm.
So the reason the son left the Boy Scouts, you weren't brave. I'm like,
Wow.
holy cow. He said so much with so few words. And then that got Mark involved with the group and they started Trail Life off that. I'm like,
Wow.
man, how cool, how powerful. And Mark isn't an outdoor guy at all.
That's fine.
He's like, but boys love to get outside and get outdoors, and
Mhm.
dads like to be active and be around their boys. So it's amazing how God's blessed that organization and help it grow as well. Similar to what it sounds like happened with Skytree.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just about there being a need and somebody who's, who really wants to deliver a high quality service. And yeah, schools are loving Skytree.
What are you seeing as far as dads or families uh, as how your books are helping, or is there something that you continually get feedback on of it was this, whatever that might be, because I don't know.
I mean, we hear every day that, you know, dads, moms, they love how excited their kids get about a Brave book coming in the mail once a month. And whenever that yellow envelope gets there and kids know it's time to have some family time. And they get to see what happens next in the story in the overarching narrative. And then they get some time to spend with mom and dad, talking about whatever the topic's on. And yeah, I think a lot of parents sort of struggle with making family time a habit and spending really quality time with their family, and they lean on Brave books to, at least at a minimum, once a month they're gonna get that, where turn off screens, go sit in the living room, read a fun book, and then play games and talk about that lesson.
Yeah, with my wife writing kids' books, one thing that we hear from our friends and people that we know is when it's a really good quality kids' book, and the parents say, "Hey, what book do you want to read?" The kid will go back to that quality book over and over and over
Yeah.
again. And the parents are like, "I'm so grateful that they keep choosing your book because it's one we enjoy as well. It's not like some of these other books that we just dread reading." But uh,
Right. Yeah.
I I see these kind of having that same appeal to it, where they look so good, the writing's so good, the stories are so good that I could see kids going back over and over again and picking your books as opposed to anything else on the shelf.
Yeah. I mean, um, yeah, for sure. It's and and to be able to grow up, with 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 sort of the Marvel or the Avengers, which is sort of what we're trying to do with our characters, and to see them, for to grow with these characters for years, I think is super important. Just to have just to have those role models, even though they're animals, they display solid characteristics that we want our kids to grow up
There's a
with.
kids' clothing model that actually sounds similar, where they have like a character life story through this clothing line.
Huh. Never heard of
And
that.
yeah, it seems like it's more of a wholesome type uh, attire, fashionable, but yet conservative, and
Okay.
they've got some cartoon character type, and like you grow with them. So you catch them when they're younger, and then you grow with them until they're in their tween years. And I was like, oh,
Interesting.
that's kind of cool. I'd never thought of something like that before. One
Yeah.
of our neighbors runs the local area, Fox and Friends, or I feel terrible not remembering the name of it, but yeah, same type thing where the kids get to know a brand and parents can trust a brand,
Yeah.
and you're all going together the same direction like a team, and you don't have to worry about something sneaking in, fox in the henhouse type thing. Like all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't know I needed to have the remote in my hand
Right. Right.
so I can skip over, pass through that stuff. Anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners that may help them understand, whether it's Brave books or something you've discovered in your own life about becoming a better dad, or ways to connect with your daughter, any of those type things? I feel like you have some newly acquired expertise over the past 7 years.
Um, yeah, I mean, one thing that's helped me is, it's easy, sometimes easy as like men to sort of get caught up on what's going on in the world, whether that's politics, whether it's things going on in culture, and thinking that that's really going to be the thing that changes the world, but really it what's going to change the world is just raising good kids and just being there, just you know growing growing a garden in your garden would just staying focused on your little plot of land, your family, your house, your kids, being a better husband, and just really taking ownership of your world, which I'm really just talking to myself. That's just like my battle. It's just like really trying to dial in and being the best dad, like not trying to change the world through brave books, but I honestly feel like I can make a bigger difference just being a good dad and good husband and modeling what a good husband and dad looks like to my kids than I can making kids books. And I do think what we're doing at Brave is super important, but it just doesn't compare to just the level of influence that I have over my four kids. I think it's greater than the, you know, 30 whatever 30 whatever thousand subscribers that we have. Um, yeah. So I just think about that a lot, and I think that it's helpful for all of us dads to keep in mind. It's just, man, it's an important job.
Do you have anything that you do? I'd love to hear routines and things that you consistently do within your family.
We we read every night, and then I, we try to have fun, at have fun, play together, you know, at least for like 10 minutes before bed. So that could be each of us go up and do a show for everybody, or you know we 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 do some sort of play. And so I just like to have fun with my kids, and I tend to do that at night. So that's my one little thing is I just try to have fun because they are fun, and but it's easy to just get caught up in just feeding them, bathing them, putting them to bed. So I like to carve out at least 10 minutes where I'm enjoying them because they're a blast.
So, guys, you said 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't monumental. And plus, we all enjoy playing with our kids. However, we can get caught up in the tasks,
Yeah.
the, the have to do's,
Yeah.
and skip out on some of the get to do's. So, I love that you mentioned fun. I wanted to bring that up because guys can forget to have fun. And I know I constantly remind myself, have fun. When you're running the kids' practice, coaching, have fun. Make it engaging for the parents, make it engaging and fun for the kids. Uh, Sometimes you can grind so hard and lose sight of, having the fun and enjoying your family and allowing them to get to know you and enjoy you as opposed to
Yeah.
being the hardcore disciplinarian or the goal focused only
Yeah.
disciplinarian. So throw you a curveball. What do you do for your wife? How do you prioritize her when you got four little cute ones running around the house?
And to be honest, I could got room to grow there. Um, I wish I had a great answer for you, but I mean, I could do better. We could both do better, probably. You know, prioritizing the marriage. We've been busy. We have four under five, and so it's it's a challenge. Just she gets really sick when she's pregnant. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, like throwing up the whole pregnancy. So um, yeah, I'm constantly trying to like make improvements, but it's hard. I'd say that when I'm doing a good job, I I am I'm just once the kids go down, I put my phone away and I dial into her and I just I just listen. We just talk and I try to listen.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's it's so simple, but for whatever reason, it can be challenging.
For sure. I asked that question because I remember when I was in more of that season of life, and one day something hit me, and it was like, cherish your wife, prioritize your wife, do it in a way where she understands that she is a priority.
Yeah,
And the kids are always, I don't say taking so much time, but they do. They take a lot of time.
yeah, for sure.
And if you
Yeah,
don't,
they take your time and your energy. Drain, I can drain my energy so quick, you know.
yes, yeah, yeah. So I had to put that on, I won't say a to-do list, but a focus for every day was just making sure my wife knew that I prioritized her, that work and other things, she was still, tops on the list.
Yeah.
So, little things, flowers or a little note or after bed, 5 minutes of listening and then, fall asleep or
Mhm.
lately, we've been watching a show together or even sharing a YouTube video but just something to discuss instead of only discussing kids and
Yeah. Yeah.
tasks and that type
Yeah.
thing. So can you come up with a challenge for dad, something they can do this week that'll help them become better?
Hmm. Um, well, I would say, yeah, read a book with your kids, and then really try to talk about it, and get your kids to open up and to share what they're thinking, and um, man, just get in that habit of talking about ideas and truth. I think it's a great habit to get into.
So dads, if you got older kids and the book thing isn't quite gonna click, feel free and shoot them a video and
Yeah.
say, hey, can you take a look at this? I'd love to talk to you about this today or this week, or you may have kids that are out of your household even, but find some version of media where you can throw something out, whatever it is, and connect with them on ideas and truth. I think that's a great way to connect with your children and do something maybe a little bit different, but also intentional. And you can also do this with your wife as well. So this works there too. So, and if you do have kids at home that you can read books with, you know, bring the idea up with your wife of what book and what you want to talk about type thing. So I think that's a fantastic challenge. What's a great way for people to connect with you, the work that you do? We talked a little bit about the new TV show coming up. So let her rip. What can we do?
Yeah, bravebooks.com. Go subscribe. You'll get a new book every single month, and it'll be a great adventure for your kids and your family. Here in the next couple months in late March, we'll be releasing our first TV show, Adventures with Iggy and Mr. Kirk. It's going to be incredible. And I think your family will love it. And that will be access to that will be included with the subscription. You'll get access to what we're calling Brave Plus, which will be our streaming platform with wholesome kids content, and that'll be included free with it with your subscription to Brave Books. And yeah, and I think that you'll fall in love with the world that we've built, the characters, the lessons that come with the books, and then the show. So, our kids' imaginations are precious, important, and I think that content like this can really go a long way to just build that solid foundation for so whenever it's time for the kiddos to leave the house and go out in the world, they've got a good head on their shoulders, and they're strong, and they've thought through some of the pitfalls that they can fall into, and as a result that they won't.
So, guys, with that, if you want to throw something in the Facebook group, whether it's a video or just an idea that you want to talk about with your kids, but if you want a little help with these conversations, or if you want to share the results of these conversations, go to the Journey of a Christian Dad Facebook group and throw it in there. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing and hear how you're discussing ideas and truth with your family. So, heck of a great challenge. I love it. Thank you for your time, and thanks for like everything you're doing at Brave Books and getting all these people collected and putting out some great content for our kids.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. I love doing it, so it's a win-win.
And that's fantastic that this has been blessed and you're successful with it. And I can't wait to see you hit the 300,000 subscription mark.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Trent, and look forward to talking again. And I'll see Kirk here in about a week in St. Louis.
Oh, nice, cool,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me, Dan. I really
You
appreciate it.
you bet. Absolutely. Thanks so much. Have a great one.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.